Yo, what up, Husker fans? Welcome to the Blackshirt Alert Show. I'm your host, TK, and I'm joined with one of my colleagues, Greg. Greg, say hello.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So, Greg, let me ask you something. Before we get started and jump into things, I just want your opinion on how you feel about the season.
We're not off to a very good start. I mean, we're 50-50, ain't we? I mean...
Yeah, we are.
I guess I'm just really bummed out about the BYU game.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are. Greg, why don't we just go ahead and jump into kind of like what the show's going to be about and how we're going to go throughout the season?
Yeah, this is the very first episode of the Blackshirt Alert Show, and we are going to be talking all aspects of Nebraska Cornhusker football. The good, the bad, the
So we're not going to cover all things Husker. We're just going to cover all things Husker football. Is that correct?
All things Husker football. This is not your Husker golf show. This is not your Husker tennis show. This is all things
Husker football show.
That's right.
Right on.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Just jump in. Tell them what we're going to be doing.
Well, like I said, all things Husker football. The ups, the downs, and pretty much everything in between. So
we're basically going to try to keep this as realistic to the reality of our situation rather than a glorified pump-up show, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we're not going to blow the team up to be too much more than what they really are.
It gets very real in the Blackshirt Alert Show.
Oh, I like that,
Yeah.
We got to keep it real. We got to let people know like where we are, where we stand. The upsides, the downsides. We got to see the trajectory of the program.
Absolutely. I mean, let me ask you this. People on the forums think we're still in the hunt for making to the playoffs.
Yes, they do.
What's your response to that?
Not going to happen. They can get that out of their mind. We are nowhere near the level of playing field as far as like an OSU, an Alabama, an Auburn. So people can just get that out of their head.
Well, the people on the forum think we are.
Well, those people are wrong.
I hope they're not, but I think they are too.
Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Sure, shoot.
Let's talk Mike Riley. He's the new coach.
Yeah.
A lot of questions were answered.
I know.
How did he do in his debut?
I think pretty. I would say solid.
Better than what you.
He got a passing grade. Yes, I would say yes.
How did he compare to Bo? Like, what did you see? What were the key differences you saw?
Well, that's a tough question. It's kind of hard just basing it off of one game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the difference is you got a hot head and a cool head.
Yep.
But everything else, I think, is just going to pretty much be the same. Like, same story, different year.
So are we on the Riley bandwagon? Are we off the bandwagon? Are we waiting to see if we're getting on? Or
I think we're going to take the Bo approach and not get on any bandwagon until they show us something that we can get behind.
And you haven't seen anything yet?
Not enough to really make me think that we're going to be a top program within the next 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Here at the Blackshirt Alert Show, we're breaking things down by quarters. We're doing quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and some weeks, if we have a lot more to discuss, we're going to go into overtime. So, quarter 1, we're just kind of introducing ourselves like we've done, and we just kind of wanted to touch on Mike Riley. So, I think the consensus is he did okay. But we're going to hold judgment until we see more.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think he did pretty good. Better than I thought he would be, like, just in general. I was really worried about how the players would react, but other than that, like, I think he did. I think he came out strong. Before we get into our next quarter or our next ordeal, I just want to say that as time goes on, we want to hear from our audience. We want to get questions. We want to interact. We want their opinions as well. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we want to hear from everybody. So
like we'll get a Twitter, we'll get Facebook, you name it, and you can hit us up, Blackshirt Alert.
Yep, leave comments or email us or tweet us or text us or Skype us or YouTube us or whatever it is. So we're going to be everywhere. So ready to move into the second quarter, Trav.
Absolutely, man. Let's do it.
All right, let's talk BYU.
Let's talk BYU, dude. What a mess, right?
What a mess. What a nightmare.
Stupid BYU.
Really?
Honestly, we played good. We had a good showing, good first game for Mike Riley. It's just we were one play away from being the better team.
Right.
And you can't leave a game to come down to a play like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had our chances to win,
mm-hmm.
and it never would have came down to this play had we done that.
Right.
So we got no one else to blame but ourselves.
Yeah.
But Greg, I really want to get your take on that play.
Extremely frustrated, but it should have never even came down to that play.
Right. I think it was painful.
It's painful. I mean, right when they set up for the Hail Mary, you just know that disaster is coming. I mean...
Oh, and it started out that way too, dude.
Yeah.
It just, from the very get-go, like we had more guys in the back of the end zone to their two guys, and somehow a guy came wide open underneath and no one bothered to cover him except for one guy from that back row. Is crazy. Yeah,
I've said this before, Trav, but I can't figure out how we had 6 or 7 red jerseys and 1 white jersey.
Yeah.
And they come up with it. How does that happen? I guess I don't understand.
They talked about that, and they said one of the whole play was doomed from the start because Gangwish was supposed to play containment,
mm-hmm.
but for whatever reason he decided to attack on the inside, which allowed their quarterback to do a rollout, buy more time, and then launch the football down the field. Like the whole play, from what I understand, complete disaster from the get-go.
Yeah.
But honestly, like we played good. The offense was moving the ball.
First quarter, great.
Yep. Second quarter, we got sloppy.
Yep.
You can tell I'm stealing a little too much from the Bo Pelini era with the sloppy play, but I mean, it was sloppy football. We made great adjustments at halftime. Like I don't know what Riley did at halftime, but I mean, the team came out. They were they just started moving the ball again. They were playing with confidence.
Yep. Fourth
quarter came out, and I mean, it just kind of went downhill.
Yeah, it did, and 2 missed field goals, that doesn't help you. And it seemed like
2 field goals.
And it seemed like, we had a lot of 3rd and 1 situations where they, 3rd and short where they weren't converting. And
right.
I don't know. Just they were having a hard time moving the ball.
The offensive line play was pretty suspect that opening day. Maybe it was jitters. I don't know. They didn't really do any rotations. Maybe they just got worn out towards the end.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm really. I see upside. I see where this team can go. We have talent. I think Tommy Armstrong played extremely well. He's making great decisions, which is something he's kind of struggled with the past 2 years.
Yep.
In fact, it's what all of our quarterbacks have struggled with the past decade.
Mm.
So it's kind of nice to see a quarterback making smart decisions again, and hopefully he can continue this heading into the Miami game.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Totally agree, Jeff.
Greg, let me ask you this. What was your take on the running game during BYU? I mean, we only had 126 yards.
Well, that number sounds not good, but it seemed like we moved the ball okay at times. There was times.
At times, yeah. I'm more shocked that, Newby and Cross, they're kind of veterans with this team. I mean, it's a new offense for them, yes, but you'd really expect them to move the ball a little better in that first game, and they just really couldn't get going.
It definitely feels like to me that there is definitely a big void that Amir left, and nobody has been the person to truly step up and, take that role. So I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think, losing Amir hurt. I mean, he's gone on, he's with the Lions now, and his first game as Lion, he had a pretty damn good game. If I can say damn, I don't know. But he had a really good, he had a touchdown and
on his first touchdown.
24-yard touchdown. So it was good to see. Wilbon had a good first game, against BYU, and we just got to get Newby going. Like, we got him going against South Alabama, but that BYU game, our running game wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. No, I couldn't agree more. Just, it needs some work, but I'm confident. I've seen enough to, be confident that it's going to get better.
Oh, it will. It will. Yeah. It's going to get going. We'll know a lot more when we face Miami this weekend. That's a huge game, dude. Like, it's huge, and I think we got to win it to get this program going to where it needs to go, and it's going to tell us a lot about where we are as a program, and if we can get to where we want to be relatively soon.
It'd be a huge confidence booster, no doubt. I mean, that'd be a big time win. I mean, I thought it was a big time win last year. I mean, I know Miami's not what they used to be, but it's still a win over Miami. That's like other teams that beat us. They say, well, it's still a win over Nebraska. It's a big win.
Well, it was our biggest win of last season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy that you look back and say, third game into the season, that's your biggest win. But I mean, it was. We didn't beat anyone really of substance, and realistically, Miami was our biggest win last season.
Yeah, it was.
So, this is a huge game coming up. It's, we're a new coach. They're looking to fire their coach. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that plays out. Should we just kind of move on and talk about the South Alabama game, or like you got anything covered that you wanted to cover?
No, yeah, I think we touched on that. I mean, I'm ready to move on. Let's go on to the third quarter here, Trav. All
right.
South Alabama.
South Alabama, otherwise known as USA. It's kind of a weird little thing to say, but it is what it is. I thought we played really well.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really well. I think Mike Riley had the troops focused after a heartbreaking loss, and It was really good to see them bounce back the way that they did.
Yep. What were some of the highlights that you saw? Some of the things that you thought they might have fixed from BYU, or some of the things you thought they did really well?
Well, the thing that I'm most impressed with, and not to take anything away from Terrell Newby's performance, but I'm still really impressed with Tommy Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look what he did last season with all the mistakes that he made on the road, key interceptions in times when we just didn't need them. This season so far through, 2 games, he's played the best football that we've ever had, really out of a quarterback in some time.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can continue this, like, we're going to have, I'm going to say a good year. We're going to, hit that 9-10 win mark, which, we've been doing, but I think we're going to be more competitive if we can stay on this track. But, definitely don't want to take away from Newby. Newby had an outstanding game, 28 rushes, 198 yards. That's nothing to smirk at or, push it aside. The line came to play, and he was a big, big reason why we were able to move the ball pretty much at will against South Alabama.
Did you see anything that you thought we'd need to improve?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's talk about that.
Okay. I hate to rag on kids, Greg, and you know this.
I know.
They're 18, 19, 21-year-old kids, Daniel Davey, he's got to get going. I don't know what his deal is.
Mm-hmm.
He's got all the talent in the world.
Yep.
Well, he's one of the fastest players on our team.
There's no doubt.
There's no reason at all for him to be, basically holding on to the back of a receiver,
mm-hmm.
running downfield. I mean, if you're beat, you're beat, but, he's got to be able to make plays on the ball, and he hasn't been able to do that.
That's the big glaring issue that you saw.
That's the biggest one. I mean, our rush defense has surprisingly been well. We need to get more of a pass rush, and it kind of sucked having Gangwish out last game and, playing a backup. But that backup, Freedom, he's been having a hell of a year. And, he's only a freshman, redshirt, but he's got so much upside. He comes off the line so explosive. He gets the quarterback. He's got a couple hurries, a sack. I mean, the kid's going to be special. He's going to be real special. And, you got Collins in the middle, and I want to see more out of our defensive tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Because between, I think, all of our defensive tackles, they only have 3 or 4 tackles in the season, and that's not very good productivity. We gotta kind of elevate their play a little bit. And, we've been pretty vanilla on defense. We haven't really shown too much. That's probably by design, getting ready to move into the Miami game, but we gotta do a little bit better defensively on that line, especially with all the injuries that we've had, and,
Yeah.
So we just got to pick up play right there.
Well, speaking of that, you want to move on and talk about this Miami game, or you?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that, man.
All right.
How do you think we'll fare? I mean, it's pretty hostile environment. Mike Riley's first road game was Huskers coach. Going up against Al Golden.
Right.
The Golden Showers, they like to call it down there in Miami.
Well, I'll tell you this. I've seen a lot of things, on the forums and whatnot. People think this is going to be a pretty easy game for us, and I don't think there's anything about it that's going to be easy.
No, it's not. I'd agree with that. And, I mean, I think we are kind of coming into a bit of a mosh pit, if you will, just because, this is going to define Al Golden. I mean, he's got to win this game.
Yep.
We're looking at a coach who's on his way out. Like it or not, if he does not have a good season this year, he's gone. The fans are restless.
Yep.
They're, hiring planes to, fly over the stadium with, advertisements saying, fire Al Golden. So, I mean, he's looking at this game as a must-win, and, if anyone doesn't think that we're going to have a hell of a fight, they're in for a surprise.
Well, I'll tell you, I read a thing on Athlon Sports. They mentioned that, I don't know if you saw this, they said, some writer there said that they thought that Tommy Armstrong is due for a, quote, breakout performance in this Miami game. So I'm thinking, I'm hoping Tommy comes in, has a strong game, and I think we're going to do okay. I think we'll win the game. But it's going to be a fight, and I'll tell you, those people down in Miami, they're not Nebraska fans. I mean, they don't like us. They're pissed off.
We don't like them.
And we don't like them.
We don't like them.
And if you remember last year, they got in a little scuffle during the game. I don't think they forgot that. I don't remember who. Randy Gregory, I think it was.
Randy Gregory was in on it, but he definitely didn't ensue it. It wasn't. He didn't antagonize that. They kind of did it themselves.
Right.
That's just typical Miami football. We'd expect nothing less.
Yep. Yeah, I think they're a pretty rough team, and I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to go to the game. I don't know if I'd feel safe going to the game down there, but
yeah,
I
wouldn't mind going to the beaches afterwards.
Right.
But you go down there, there's no telling, what's going to be flying your way. It could be a knife for all we know.
Yeah, I mean, you go down there in your Husker shirt, and oh man, it could get pretty nasty. But
oh yeah. Well, let's start talking about some key matchups that we're going to be facing. They got a hell of a quarterback.
Yep.
Kaya's he's a good one. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks we're going to face all year.
Right.
And
we're expect right.
Yep.
Yep.
We got one of the worst pass defenses right now, and this is going to be a huge test to tell us where we're at. I'm not real sure how that's going to play out. That's the only thing really that makes me nervous.
So you're looking to see you need Davey to step up.
I need Davey to step up. I need our secondary as a whole to step up. Really, the only guy back there that's been playing good, solid football is Nate Gary.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just an absolute stud. He's got 2 interceptions on the year through just 2 games. The kid's a hell of an athlete. He's having a breakout year. I think I think he's going to be definitely first team All Big Ten. So basically, man, what this game is going to boil down to is Tommy Armstrong. Can he continue to make those smart decisions and protect the football? That's what it's going to come down to. That's something that he's struggled with. We need Newby to have another very solid game. We need our pass defenses to set up. We can match these guys athletically. I mean, we're Nebraska. We have to recruit out of state. They don't, but speed-wise, we can match these guys. Strength-wise, we match these guys. So really, it's an even thing. It's just going to come down to Tommy Armstrong and how he can lead this offense.
I think that's. I agree with all your points, Trav. It's going to be a tough game. You want to give your prediction on it? Or you want to save that till the end there?
I think it's going to be somewhat of a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
I think it'll be in that 32-28 to 34, 30 range. But I think the good guys are going to win. I got Nebraska to win this one.
I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're going to win by a field goal. I think we're going to get those field goal problems fixed.
Do you think Drew Brown can kick a field goal?
I'm hoping. I'm thinking.
I mean, okay, he's 2-2 on the year.
Right. I'm going to say 21 to 24-ish, in and around low 20s. I'm thinking somewhere
right.
High teens, low 20s. So I'm thinking we're going to be in there somewhere.
You think it's going to be a defensive slobber knocker?
I think so. Yeah.
Greg, before we kind of end the show, I have this little segment I'd like to do called Frustration in Huskernation.
Yep.
I just want to talk about some things and kind of let Husker fans kind of know where we are and just kind of set the BS aside.
Yeah, it's kind of like the State of the Union for Nebraska football.
State of the Union for Nebraska football. Let's just cut to the chase. Let's just call it what we really are.
Trav, you have the mic.
Fellas, look. We fired a coach that won 9 and 10 games a year. In doing so, we ended up hiring a coach that barely won 5. He's 500 for his record. Okay, he's won a little bit more than he's lost. The problem with this is, people say, well, he didn't have the resources. He didn't have, the ability to recruit like he's going to have here. Well, I can kind of see the resources, but let me tell you something. We're not recruiting that well right now. And you can't name me one national championship over the course of 20 years since really recruiting has kind of been brought into the spotlight where a team has not had a top 15, top 10 class and won the national championship. It's just never happened. And if we want to compete with the Ohio States of the world, the Alabamas of the world, the Auburns, I'm sorry, guys, we're going to have to recruit a hell of a lot better than what we are doing right now. So these 3-star recruits, these 2-star recruits, they're not going to cut it. Now, I don't doubt that they're not good athletes, but I don't think they're going to be the long-term answer. You might get lucky and get 1 or 2, but it is scientifically proven that, the higher the rating for these players, the more likely they are to pan out at the next level. And that's what we need. We don't need coach 'em up players. We need coaches that can come in and keep the ball rolling once we get it moving. And, I see people saying, what was Alabama's record the year Nick Saban went there? That's completely irrelevant. Alabama, that first year, yeah, they didn't really do good. They were like 7-6, I believe. Here's the problem. Nick Saban, when he went there, he already had a national championship. He was considered one of the top football coaches in football, not just college, in football. We get Mike Riley, who hasn't won anything. People talk about, well, he's got 2 Grey Cups. I don't care about Canadian Football League. I care about college football. So let me tell you something, fellas. We cannot give Mike Riley more than 3-4 years. If we do this, we're just wasting time, and it's going to be even harder to catch up. That's just the way it is.
Trav,
the situation is just different.
You were telling me about I'd like to hear the story you were telling me about somebody mentioning to you that
it's not about the wins and the losses.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Fellas, here's the thing. I'm not going to name names because I'm not going to throw people under the bus. It's not my style. But not too long ago, after we lost to BYU, I says, this was kind of what we've subjected ourselves to. We were told that we're going to bring in a guy that could win the games that matter and keep us competitive and get us over the hump. BYU is a solid program. They're nothing special. Okay? They're an indie team. They're not even in a conference. They play nobody. They play a couple of good teams a year. Yes, they beat Boise State. Who gives a crap? Let me tell you what it boils down to. No coach gets fired for how kids turn out off the field. And this is what he tries to tell me. He says, TK, coaching's not about the wins and losses. It's about how good kids turn out in the future when they reach adulthood. No, it's not. That is not what coaching's about. Coaching is about winning. It's about winning championships. No coach ever got fired for kids that didn't pan out to be good citizens. They got fired for losing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to stay competitive, we got to get the best coach. And I'm not saying Riley can't do that. Riley is a good coach, and I'm behind him. But he's got to recruit better. We recruited great in the 90s. Under Tom Osborne, 93, we had a top 10 class, top 5 by some. 96, we had the number 1 recruiting class in the nation with the nation's number 1 recruit. So when you have people say you can't recruit to Nebraska, it's just a bold-faced lie. There's the voice for the Michigan State Spartans. Greg, what is his name?
Hondo Carpenter.
That's right. Says, and I quote, saying that you cannot recruit to Nebraska is like saying you can't get calories in a donut. We're Nebraska, and if we want to recruit good, we can recruit good. It just depends on if you want the top athletes or not. And if we're not going after the top athletes, then, fellas, I ask you, what the hell are we doing? We cannot be conservative about coming back to the top. Urban Meyer, as soon as he took over at OSU, instantly brought in a top 5 class.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Saban at Alabama brought in the number 1 class his very first year. We have to do better. We have to start getting the top recruits, and that's what it boils down to. Because if it's not, it's just going to be a nonstop frustration machine. We're just going to have frustration in Huskernation, and I've been frustrated long enough. Not since 1999 have we won a conference championship. If I were to go back in time and tell any Husker fan that between now and 2015 we would not have a single conference championship, they would laugh at me.
Mm-hmm.
They would say that you're crazy.
Absolutely.
But right now, that is the reality. That is where we're at as a football program. We haven't won a conference championship in 16, 17 years. It's got to change. So with that, Husker fans, that is our first show, the Blackshirt Alert. I hope you enjoyed. Greg, I had a lot of fun, and I appreciate you for joining me.
Yeah, I had a blast, man. We're going to come back and do this next week. And
Absolutely. We're going to do this every week, man. Every week.
We'll give us next up's Miami, so
we'll talk a little bit about that game, going over how it looks, kind of catch up on the headlines and, move on to our next opponent, win or lose. Go Big Red.
World Order.